So, why do you feel drowsy after a meal? You know, that feeling that after you have dinner, you kind of make your way over to the couch, you lie down, and with a second you pass out, only to wake up around 10 p.m., 10 at night, go upstairs to bed, brush your teeth, crawl into bed, and hope to fall asleep as quickly as you did on the couch. So, what is going on in your body? My name's Dr. Yousuf Siddiqui, and I'm a naturopathic doctor at Nutrichem. And today we're going to be talking about your endocrine system and your digestion and the effects that it has on your overall energy. So we know that food is fuel. You know that, I know that. We know that whatever you put into your body, your nutrients, your macronutrients, they're giving your cells, all these different processes in your body, energy to do what it needs to do. Now, energy, our body needs energy for all processes, things you don't really think about, like your heart beating and your lungs, breathing in air, being able to talk and sit up straight. That all takes energy. And there's my cat who has energy jumping on top of his little cushion things. But what happens when we start to compromise, like the sources of energy actually become a hindrance to our body? And as you may be aware, if you've seen some of my previous videos, a huge portion of my practice is focused on digestive health and hormones, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So digestion is going to be our starting point. So digestion. So inflammation. If you are someone who eats a meal and feels bloated, or if you're someone who throughout the day their bloating starts to increase with each meal, that's someone that should tell you or set off an alarm bell that there is something going on in your gut. There is an inflammatory process happening. There's inflammatory cytokines that are being released within your digestive tract that are impeding your body's ability to maximize its energy. And that in itself is going to wipe you out. And I mean, there's the causes of it are require actually a really thorough assessment. There's SIBO and SIFO and dysbiosis within the gut. So the microbiome, which is a really hot topic right now, and there's a ton of research pouring into it. So what's really important is to look at, what are you putting into your body and why is your body having this inflammatory response? So one thing that I suggest is that you take a look at various different types of diets, like the low FODMAP diet if you suspect that you have SIBO, the SCD diet, the AIP diet, the elimination diet are all my favorite ones. And they're great ways of assessing, do you have a microbiome issue, do you have a fungal issue, or do you have a food sensitivity issue, which does happen. Now, a quick aside to food sensitivities. Food sensitivities, the testing for it is controversial in my opinion because you're not really getting to the root cause, but there is some validity when we're talking about like post-fatigue after a meal. On that note, I want to talk about the types of foods that you're eating at night. So if you're someone who occasionally kind of crashes on the couch after a meal, it's really important to take a look at what are you actually consuming. So tryptophan. So what's a good analogy for tryptophan? Thanksgiving and Christmas dinner, how everyone eats dinner and then passes out on the couch. The reason why that happens is turkey, if you're eating turkey is high in tryptophan. Tryptophan, it's a precursor to serotonin, which is a neurotransmitter that makes you happy, but it's also serotonin then converts into melatonin, which everyone knows helps you sleep. So when you're consuming too much tryptophan converts to serotonin and then converts to melatonin, which is what makes you tired. So that's something else to consider. And there are specific foods that are quite high in tryptophan that I would suggest that you take a look at if that's what you're consuming. Things like dried spirulina and cheddar cheese and hard Parmesan, roasted pork, tenderloin is higher actually than turkey is. Hard-boiled eggs, same thing. Hard-boiled eggs are high in tryptophan as well. Other foods which aren't as high but still when consumed in high amounts can have a similar effect are things like spinach and soy and tofu and fish. as well. Certain fish are high in tryptophan as well. So if you're someone who, on the rare occasion you pass it on a couch after a meal, take a look at these high tryptophan foods and try taking them out of your diet or decreasing the quantity that you're eating and see if that starts to help. The other thing I really want to talk about is your adrenals. So chronic adrenal fatigue. So again, another really big, hot, popular topic. True adrenal fatigue. So this is someone, when they come into my practice, when they wake up, it's a slow, groggy wake up, requiring a ton of stimulants. Eventually there'll be some supplements. And they, and it isn't until like 11 in the morning that they start functioning, and then they kind of crash later in the afternoon, and then their energy picks up again. This is another thing that we really, really have to address and assess for, because it really, really impacts people's lives and is also a serious cause of this kind of post-meal fatigue. The main reason being is that when true adrenal fatigue sets in, the digestive tract starts to slow down a little bit. People tend to their digestion slows down. They may get constipated, but if their digestion's slowing, it might cause the fermentation of stool within their small intestines, which causes some of the bloating. Digestion definitely gets impacted. But one of the main causes or root causes it's a cause, is that those who have adrenal fatigue, it's more a symptom, crave stimulants. They crave sugar. They crave salt. Sugar, so we have to talk about sugar intake. So sugar, as we all know, in diabetes, prediabetes, and diabetes, can cause dysregulation of blood sugars within the system. And one of the side effects, which you may have seen with someone who has diabetes type 1, or type 2 for that matter, is that when high amounts of glucose go into their blood, they get fatigued, they get dizzy, they pass out. And so if you think about someone who's diabetic, who has type 2 diabetes or pre-diabetic, or their insulin levels aren't optimized, if they have dinner with desserts, like a nice heavy dessert, something like a lot of refined sugar, they're going to get tired. They're going to need to lie down because their body can't handle, their insulin levels cannot handle shunting that glucose into their cells. And that is a big cause for it as well. So with adrenals, we have to look at cortisol, epinephrine, norepinephrine. There's a history that we go through to see if it is true adrenal fatigue. There's testing as well. But also, if you're one of these individuals who has adrenal fatigue, is to really look at your sugar consumption, because your sugar consumption is going to play with your insulin levels, and that's going to make you tired after a meal. Your thyroid. So everyone knows thyroid, hypothyroid, hyperthyroid. Everyone knows that hypothyroid, you see weight gain. But the thyroid, not very many people know that the thyroid is impacted by your digestive tract. And actually, you know what? I wrote a blog, a case study on this guy named John who came in, who was quite fatigued. He had subclinical hypothyroidism, and he had SIBO. And I walked through his journey into how he brought his energy back. And feel free to take a look actually at that blog, because it really goes into detail about the thyroid connection. So when you're falling asleep after dinner, it's really important to kind of step back and take a look at what's going on in your body. Is it a gut thing? My bias is always gut first. If you became a patient of mine, you know that probably within the first 15 minutes, I'm going through kind of what you eat, how you feel, how you're digesting your food, gut health. Then what's important is to look at kind of your medical history. What brought you to this point today? Is there this chronic stress and this fatigue, and you've been really wearing yourself out? Are there a lot of peripheral stressors happening in your life that are really starting to impact the quality of how your body's functioning? And we also look at your thyroid. I mean, not everyone, I look at everybody's thyroid as part of my screening processes, but, there's a lot of people who have these subclinical hypo or even hyperthyroid states, which start to affect how their body feels and their energy levels. So hopefully this answers some of your questions, and hopefully you watch the whole video. And if you have any questions about my practice or anything I've talked about today, feel free to give our clinic a call. It's a Nutrichem clinic. I am at the Carling location. I am accepting new patients. So should you be interested in seeing me or any of our naturopaths, feel free to give us a call. Have a great day, and thanks for watching.